Good day to all of you out there. Welcome to the program Agenda on Signal TV channels 8 and 250. And also you can watch us via Facebook.com/OneNewsPH and via YouTube. Just enter OneNewsPH and search out Agenda. Today is January 15, 2021. It's a Friday, and it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's the second Friday of the month and second weekend. So I do hope you have great plans, but unfortunately, I think a lot of people are not planning on moving around, being mobile, or traveling because of the coronavirus, especially now that they're talking about this variant. And of course, we will continue to monitor what's happening as far as COVID-19 is concerned. But in the meantime, we will also be dealing with other topics. And today, we will, as far as our agenda is concerned, we would like to tackle or give time to other industries, particularly the automotive industry, because meron pong nangyari about 2 weeks ago. The Department of Trade and Industry came out with a pronouncement that they were going to place a safeguard tax. Kumbaga ito po ay isang buwis, or what, I don't know how to describe it, but essentially the DTI or the government through the Department of Finance hopes to impose a 70,000 peso tariff for imported cars, and if I am not mistaken, it's 110,000 pesos for imported light commercial vehicles. Okay. And why did the government or the DTI decide to do this? Apparently, it is intended to protect local industries, presuming that we actually have a legitimate local car manufacturing program in the real sense. The idea is for the tariff to somehow make the local vehicles more competitive by increasing the cost of the imported vehicle. Pero hindi po ito apples and apples or orange or mani sa mani. Ang nagiging issue raw po dito ay parang ang naglabi nitong tariff na ito ay yung mga metal industries, yung mga nagsusupply baga ng bakal, ng yero, ng plancha, ng whatever other material goes into the manufacture of local vehicles. Now, if you look at it, medyo parang, paano mapoprotektahan yung local by increasing the imported? The presumption, I suppose, is the tariff will go to the metal industries who are lobbying. Pero mukhang dehins gano'n ang mangyayari. So ang mangyayari, magkakaroon ng pera yung gobyerno. Hindi pa natin alam kung saan pupunta because we are trying to get them to come to the program to explain it. Pero naku po, ewan ko, parang pagka medyo controversial, mailap ang mga tiga-gobyerno magsalita. But anyway, I've not had that experience with DTI, and I do hope this won't be the first time. But in any case, we will continue to try to find out what was the logic, what was the motive, who is behind this safeguard tariff. And for that matter, we will be interviewing the general manager for sales and marketing of Geely Philippines. He's a friend. I've known him as a when I was doing work, part-time work as a motoring journalist. Froilan Dytianquin. He also spent many years, I think decades pa nga, dyan din sa Mitsubishi Motors Philippines. So, kabisado ni Froilan yung history ng industriya. So, yung hindi ko makuwang information sa DTI, subukan natin kunin kay Froilan and then find out, do these tariffs work? Do they actually end up protecting or hurting? And then after Froilan and other issues, we will speak with Dr. Marigold Ferrolino. Siya po ay director for the Cancer Center of the Rizal Medical Center. And I have asked Team Agenda to make this an agenda of the show. Why? Kasi I've been very transparent about it. Entering, as the year 2020 ended, my sister Marisa Beltran Altamirano, wife of Coach Eric Altamirano, informed the family that she had breast cancer, stage 2, and that began our journey of becoming more intimately familiar with the process. Hindi po dahil sa humahanap ng simpatya yung kapatid ko, pero ginawa niyang commitment to journal, to post, to share thoughts, experiences regarding the journey of a cancer victim. And I was shocked. I was really shocked with what I discovered kasi hindi po pala ganun kasimple. Akala natin, meron kang bukol sa dibdib, sige, pa-x-ray mo yan, pa-MRI mo, etc., patanggal mo, magkikimo, and it's okay na. In fact, some people have said, stage 2 lang yan, okay yan, she'll survive, madali yan. Okay? It's not that simple. And the journey itself, medyo kakaiba po. It is a journey that many Filipinos need to learn, need to understand and appreciate because it makes us more aware that there are other problems, serious problems that Filipinos face other than COVID-19 and making a living. Primary, of course, is living a life or staying alive. For many cancer victims, it's about staying alive. So anyway, we will discuss that later. Kausapin natin yung para dyan, si Dr. Marigold Ferrolino of the RMC. Now, before we do that, let's go to the news. Medyo kargado po ang ating dyaryo ngayon. Let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star because it's really loaded today. The Food and Drug Administration, or FDA, has given the first emergency use authority for COVID-19 vaccines to US-based company Pfizer. Okay, nulit po, no? Yung Pfizer, unang-unang nakatanggap ng emergency use authorization from the Philippine Food and Drug Administration. Okay. The FDA Philippines clarifies that the vaccine brand will not yet be available commercially. Kumbaga, mayroon lang tayong dokumento na papag-usapan na, pero since the EUA is not a marketing authorization, yan po, no? Medyo kakaiba rin yung dating ng balitang yun. Kasi kumbaga, okay, may EUA na yung Pfizer. Alam naman karamihan Pilipino, emergency use authorization, pinapayagan na sila dahil sa matinding pangangailangan. Here's the kicker. Somebody or some people have used another vaccine without an EUA, okay? So, yun lang po, no? Medyo, kumbaga, parang nababaliwala yung sinasabi ng FDA in light of the fact that Malacanang themselves, have used the Sino vaccine for the PSG. Baka sabihin na naman ng mga, ayan na naman, tumitira na naman si Beltran. Hindi po, natatawa na lang po ako. Ayoko na kayong tirahin dyan kasi tinurukan nyo na yung sarili nyo. Still on vaccines, President Rodrigo Duterte said he is ready to be among the last in the country to get the vaccines against COVID-19. In contrast to what he said before and also to what other country leaders have demonstrated. Okay, ano po ang problema dito? Para po silang, ito na naman, sasabihin na naman yun, ang babatikos ako. Hindi po eh. Simple arithmetic, simple logic lang po ito, no? All the world leaders, sila yung unang nagpabakuna. Common sense lang naman eh. Ikaw yung presidente, ikaw yung prime minister, we don't want you to fall to COVID because we don't want a leadership void in any country whatsoever. Diba? So, yun lang yun, number one. Number two, in terms of vaccines, it is proof of life or life in the vaccine. Kumbaga, magpapabakuna yung Pangulo, di siyempre, kung si Presidente nagpabakuna, yan, senior citizen na yan, 74 years old na yan. Aba, di tayo lahat magpabakuna. Alam niyo po, yung statement na mahuhuli na lang kami, parang, we will give way to others, it is martyric. Pamartir. Medyo, parang wag na po, no? Magpabakuna kayo, Mr. President, kasi kailangan makumbinsi ng Pilipino na kailangan magpabakuna silang lahat. Okay? Let's not create a situation or an impression na mauna muna yung iba. Okay. Still on the chief executive, President Duterte says the national recovery is within sight as vaccines are expected to arrive in the country. Okay. Wag na nating dagdagan po yan kasi parang ang layo pa niyan eh. Kumbaga yung sabi ni Anthony Castello, layo ng tingin. Wala namang marating. Okay. In other news, Skyway Stage 3 has been formally opened. The only good news during the end of the year and the opening of the year, yan pong Skyway Stage 3 na bukas na all the way na yata to NLEX. Ginawa po yan ng San Miguel Corporation kasama nung kanilang mga katuwang. Okay? It was built, funded, and will now be run by San Miguel Corporation. Why am I emphasizing? Kasi ginagawa na naman po sa sa Facebook and social media, meron na namang mga magagaling diyan gustong palabasin na ito ay government project. This is a government how do you call it? Kumbaga on the government's wish list, part of the government's program. Okay? They created the program. Our program is to build, build, build. Pero ang gumawa niyang Skyway ay private sector. Let's call a spade, no? Yung iba kasi want to take credit for it, Pumipicture pa yung iba, wala namang koneksyon doon sa pagpapapicture sa kanila. Maliban sa kay Presidente, si Presidente, good. I mean, that's part of his administration and his administration's program. Pero iba, ewan. Okay. 12 more men are now part of the investigation in the death of flight attendant Christine Dacera. Okay, from 11 naging 12 na. O pag sinabing 12 more, 24 na. 23 kasi una, ang suspect 11. Ngayon, 12 more. Nako po, ewan ko na. Ayan na sinasabi, palaki ng palaki, no? And US President Donald Trump has been impeached for an unprecedented second time as House lawmakers ruled that he incited insurrection which led to the mob attack on the Capitol. Washington. Okay, the ball is now in the Senate court on whether they will convict or acquit Trump. Okay, bago po tayo tumuloy sa ating interviews, medyo pag-usapan lang natin itong pangyayari sa Amerika. Why? It's essential that we Filipinos reflect on what happened in America, because what happened in America is that a sitting president, using his political clout and stirring up his supporters, is basically got people to get riled up. Kumbaga inasar niya, ginalit niya, kinulit niya, and at the end of the day, ayun, nagmarcha na yung kanyang mga supporters at naging gawa-gulo dun sa Kapitolyo ng Amerika. Now, what's the point here? You're the sitting president. You are supposed to be the person leading the country, not steering up the country to civil unrest. Marami pong mga politiko ngayon, pati sa social media, mga tao, ginagawa yan. They basically play on the emotions and the fears of many people. And they use their position, whether in politics, in commerce, or in social media, without thinking of the consequence. Kasi maraming tao dyan, feeling nila, hindi naman ako mababalikan nito, hindi ako masasaktan dito. Alam niyo po, aside from cyber libel, and then may mga batas tayo on cybercrime, the reality is napupuno ang salop, sabi nga ni FPJ. Napupuno ang salop. Yung ilan sa inyo diyan na sundot ng sundot sa mga Pilipino para mag-away-away, magkagulo, magkahiwa-hiwalay, okay? Darating din ang panahon that you will reap what you sow. Aanihin ninyo yung gawa-gulong tinatanim ninyo. And kayo pong mga Pilipino, those of us who watch agenda, I just basically request you, if you know of someone who sows discord, if you know someone who's trying to make people fight, quarrel, medyo sitahin nyo po. Lalo na kung leader in government or leader in business. Huwag nating payagan na pag-awayin ang mga Pilipino. Yung kaming mga, kami mga opinion leader o kami mga commentator, makipagkulitan kami sa gobyerno or sa negosyante, it is in the aid of making things better or correcting what is wrong. Pero yung sasabihin mong, pula, laban sa puti, o kaya Ilocano, laban sa Bisaya, etc., etc., nako po, tigilin po natin yung mga ganun tao. Anyway, I'm digressing. Napapasarap lang po kasi medyo yung nangyari sa Amerika, we don't want that to happen. Tayo dito, nagkaroon tayong People Power 1, People Power 2, pero ang nangyari, yung people, wala pa ring power, at yung mga naglaban-labang mga politiko, sila pa rin yung nasa power. So tayo po, sana magising na kayong Pilipino. Huwag kayong kagat ng kagat dyan sa mga nagsasabing, mahal ko kayong lahat. Okay, puntahan naman natin yung topic natin. Let's go to our topic for today. First topic for today is this safeguard tariff on vehicles. Will the DTI sanctioned or DTI endorsed safeguard tariff really help or hurt first the automotive industry, and will it help the supply chain or the metals industry, etc. Let's bring in, I don't know if he's ready already, let's bring in Sir Froilan Dytianquin, currently the General Manager for Sales and Marketing at Geely Philippines. He was Mitsubishi Motors Philippines' first Vice President in the Marketing Division and was motoring editor of Wheels PH pala. Hindi ko alam yon, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Cito.
Wala na.
Actually, I'm not sure. It's not really true, editor. I didn't become editor. Actually, contributing lang ako. Contributing.
Okay. Our wrong. Our mali. In any case, good morning, and I hope you are seeing a brighter, happier new year for yourself as well as for the industry. What's the situation right now? Before we go into the topic, we have time. Before we get into the topic, what is the status of the automotive industry relative to how Geely is performing?
Well, Last year, actually, 2020, we all know everyone was hit by the pandemic, no, and nothing was spared. Of course, one of this is the automotive industry, and looking at the total numbers, although there's no official tally yet for the year 2020, but I believe the industry contracted around more than 40%
Mhm.
in total. No? So this is probably the worst contraction the automotive industry felt. So that's really very bad. And looking at that numbers, we also found out that the effect of this, there were, as with other industries, there were actually job losses, closures, particularly some dealers actually close shop. No? So it's really very sad, no, to have this situation.
Mhm.
And for 2021, actually, we were kind of optimistic that it will bring forth a recovery for the auto industry because, of course, kumbaga, dapa na tayo nung 2020 and we are all right now banking on some growth. If you remember, in 2020, April, midway March, we have lockdown. So all the dealerships, auto industries, non-essential, which are considered non-essential, were closed shop. No?
Mhm.
So that triggered the big losses, and of course, no sales for the dealers and the automotive industry.
Froy,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Froy, hindi ba pumikap nung December? Kasi there were impressions, at least on Facebook, that people started buying cars approaching into Christmas. Kumbaga parang they decided na regaluhan ko na yung sarili ko, buong taon, napaka-miserable ng buhay ko. Many of them started buying cars. Or were these isolated cases actually?
I would say hindi, it's ano kasi Cito, we call there's some seasonality on buying cars. Normally
Yeah.
it happens on the summer months, and
Mhm.
the other period is the coming towards Christmas, as you mentioned. So
Yeah.
really, I would say December. There were really a lot. I would believe there's growth in December sales, no,
Mhm.
particularly many of the distributors, assemblers offered a lot of promotions, no, to
Mhm.
move their inventory. Because another secret, because ano yan parang it's a kind of people would want to buy nga, sabi mo nga, they want to regaluhan yung sarili nila
Yeah.
with a brand new car coming Christmas. Yeah.
Okay, now
Uh,
Christmas seemed like a breather, a kumbaga bad luck breaker. Pero biglang eto na, pagpasok ng New Year, biglang nag-declare itong DTI nitong 70,000 additional tax sa mga coaching imported at saka 110,000 tawag nila safeguard parang parang protection protection tax sino pinoprotektahan? Ano ang safeguard nitong tax? I don't want to put you in the spot, Froy, no? I know you have good relationships with the DTI, with Secretary Mon Lopez. I know you try to stay neutral and be business-like. But, for lack of access to anyone from DTI or anyone, pati nga si editor Manny ng Philippine Star Motoring, hinahanap ko, hindi namin ma-reach. Could you give us your thoughts on this safeguard tax? Ano ba talaga to?
Well, actually, it has been a study by the DTI probably 2 years or a year ago, and they sent already some survey to assemblers, even embassies of all representing the brands, no, automotive brands here in the Philippines, no?
Mhm.
And they were actually parang ito yung consultation nila, no? And they consulted everyone, even the industry associations, including CAMPI and AVID and TMA, about the safeguard policy because they are really worried nga of the rise of imported vehicles. No?
Mhm.
The imported vehicles, probably right now, around more than 70% are imported, and only 30% or even 25% are local. This is contrary to the fact that DTI wanted a different scenario wherein they wanted 70% local and 30% imported to revive the local production, local manufacturing or
Mhm.
automotive manufacturing. So I guess for them this is something they want. Sorry to say, but I would say parang band-aid
Mhm.
solution to really stop or not really slow down the imported vehicles. But yun nga lang, my
Is
sense
this
here,
sorry, Froy, no? Do you
yeah,
think it is really intended to kind of stimulate the market movement towards locally manufactured vehicles, or is it more of an I know medyo controversial itong tanong ko, no? Or is it more to make the metals industries lobby happier? Kumbaga, oh yan, pinagbigyan na namin, tinira na namin ng tax yung mga imported cars, but in the end, what will be the consequence of this? Makakatulong ba ito sa locally manufactured cars? Makakatulong ba ito do sa metals industry? Or makakasama, given, as you pointed out, 70% of the cars in the market are all imported.
yeah. That I would just like to explain because we
Oo.
have this Safeguard Measure Act. And I think DTI, to be fair with DTI, they are acting on this Safeguard Measure Act, wherein if a local industry is threatened by imported, let's say, imported products, no,
Mhm.
proliferation of imported products, then they should be able to protect the local industry. So this is the Safeguard Measure Act, Republic, if I'm not mistaken, RA 8800. No? And they have applied this to cement,
Mhm.
which I think was still running for 3 years. Yun nga, ang sinasabi natin dito, for, let's say, for an industry like cement, ano yan direct product competition. So, cement is cement. Okay?
Mhm.
So, if you buy local cement, of course, when you buy imported cement, halos pareho yan, direct competition. But in a complex industry like automotive industry, there's a lot of segments.
Mhm.
The local manufacturing, we have only a limited number of vehicles which are locally produced.
Mhm.
We have the Toyota Vios, the Mitsubishi Mirage, the Mitsubishi L300, the Toyota Innova. So these models cater to their segments. Kasi
Mhm.
sabi ko nga sa'yo, auto industry, maraming segments yan. So I would say Vios and Mirage, magkasama yan sa small subcompact passenger cars. The L300 sa mga cab chassis or utility cabs, then Toyota Innova's MPV. But
Mhm.
the auto industry, as I mentioned, is more complex. Maraming segments. May SUVs tayo, may pickups tayo. And we don't expect people to just buy small cars. We don't just expect people to buy L300s or Innovas
Mhm.
for all intents and purpose. No?
Yeah,
They
because
have
the
they
trend
have the
in
freedom to
Asia,
choose.
the trend in Asia is towards SUVs. Kahit na malaki, parang bang for buck o mas masulit yung pera because mas matibay yung SUVs, tumatagal at pwedeng gamiting pang commercial, pwedeng gamiting pang pamilya. Parang advertisement no?
And at the same time, I would add on to it, sa Philippines kasi, alam mo naman, pag umulan dito, baha.
Hmm.
And at the same time, our roads, some of our roads are not really that good.
Mhm.
So SUVs are or therefore pickups are the way to go, no, instead
Yeah.
of these passenger cars. But still, people buy passenger cars, yung mga Vios and Mirage,
Hin-
kasi nga,
Yeah, hindi ba pwede Froy na itong safeguard tax o itong protection tax on local industries ay ipataw sa direct product competitor. As you pointed out, cement to cement, kung may kumokompetensya sa L300 na imported, di yun ang tapalan natin ng buwis. Kung may kumokompetensya doon sa Mirage, doon sa Innova, yun ang tapalan ng buwis. But the others should not be covered because there are no equal products that are being affected locally.
yes, actually, I would say that would be the case. But point in case here, Cito, is if we talk about these models, itong locally produced, Mirage, Vios, Innova, L300, market leader na sila eh. Sila na yung nagdo-dominate to sa segment nila. If I would say subcompact, Vios, Mirage, parang sila na yung 1 and 2 eh. Sa MPV, Innova is number 1, runaway leader.
Okay.
So, in a sense,
Froy,
yeah.
yeah, I hope you don't mind. Sorry, I just need to go for a quick break. Mayroon tayong commercial pero we will come back to you right away. Pag-usapan nga natin yan kasi correct ka eh. Yung mga feeling threatened, yun yung pinakamalaking market share. Let's go for a quick break and we'll be right back with Froy here on Agenda. Okay, you're back here on Agenda. Let's bring in Froy and we let Froy Dytianquin will give us an insight. Okay, Froy, sinabi mo kanina na yung mga Innova, yung L300, yung Mirage, those are the models that have the highest sales. Kumbaga, sila yung bulto of vehicles presently sold in the Philippines. So why is the metal industry's lobby saying that all the other importations are a threat to the car manufacturing industry?
Well, I think for the metal industry workers, I think the main concern really is to be able to have a more flourishing local manufacturing. No, they wanted more the local manufacturing to expand to other models probably, but it's not that easy, Sito. Eh. There are economies of scales. There are regional strategies being undertaken by different manufacturers, and this cannot be done by just adjusting, let's say, tariff. Because our sense is one of the key proponents to be able to decide, let's say, Philippines to be considered as a base, for local manufacturing is the demand. Not only demand for a specific model, but the total industry volume, meaning the total industry itself.
I mean,
Let's say for
let's call a spade, Froy, no? Kasi kayo, of course, you're going to be polite. Of course, you're going to be careful about what you say because you're part of the industry. But the reality for me as a journalist, so the malaman din ng mga kababayan natin, tayo po mga kaibigan ay isang isla na malayo sa lahat ng mga ibang bansa dito sa Asia. Hindi katulad yan ng Thailand, ng Cambodia, lahat sila. Dikit-dikit sila eh. Tayo lang at Indonesia ang nakahiwalay. So there is a cost factor. Kahit magtayo tayo ng planta dito sa Pilipinas, isi-ship mo pa rin papunta doon sa ibang bansa, malaking gastos yun. Am I correct? The shipping cost, Froy, for those is about $1,500 to $2,000 per unit?
that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Cito.
So tapos yung cost ng kuryente because you were
utility.
you were with Mitsubishi nung tinayo itong local manufacturing. Paano nangyari na nagawang magtayo ng local manufacturing pero hindi na naunlad? Was it simply because the model were tailor fit for Filipino market and for the size of the Filipino sales?
Well, actually, if you're talking about the Mirage, no, it's a matter of also a strategy. Kasi I just to explain, Sito, and as an example, there should be a product champion in let's say in one country. Let's say Thailand, they have pickups.
Oh.
And when say pickups, ito talaga ginagamit ng lahat. No? So that's why the pickup has evolved from traditionally na parang consumer good carrier lang to a recreational vehicle, even a recreational vehicle. So na-expand nila yung pickup use. Sa Indonesia naman, they have this multi-purpose vehicles or minivans. No? So unfortunately for Philippines, wala tayong ganun. No? We were actually banking on the small subcompact cars. Kaya nga ito yung Vios Mirage. The choice of Mirage at that time was because ito yung pinaka-simple or probably, if I would say, less cost in terms of investments. No? So this is one thing that has been considered probably by Mitsubishi at that time. And sayang nga, last time around, just to go to refresh our memories, going back to the idea of product champion, we had this AUV as product champion. Meron tayong mga Tamaraw, meron tayong Adventure, may Crosswind. And
yung FX.
all of these are being produced in the Philippines. And the volume was really significant and to a product champion for Philippines. And ang ginawa ng gobyerno, of course, but dahil nga locally produced siya, there were some incentives like wala siyang excise tax. So the pricing of this model was really very competitive against, let's say, a passenger car or even. So people bought this Adventure Tamaraw or Crosswind because tama-tama nga, as I was saying,
so
Philippines mabaha.
Yeah, so lumalabas, Froy, na in the end, instead of taxing the other imported models, they should actually give incentive to the sale of the locally manufactured models. Kasi ang nangyari, parang pinalo mo, binuwisan mo yung imported, you tax the imported vehicles, you put the money in your left pocket, but you didn't give it to the local models. Kumbaga, so
Yes.
nobody wins except government. In any case, we will continue to pursue this, Froy. Medyo naubusan tayo ng oras, pero thank you for bringing us, giving us information regarding the need for champion models, the reality of the road environment, and what it takes to get people to invest in the Philippines. Kasi palagay ko panahon na natanggapin nating panaginip yung for us to become the automotive manufacturing center of Asia forget it. We are an island. It's just not practical. Anyway,
Yes.
thank you very much, Froy.
Thank you, Cito.
Alam kong napilitan ka lang pagbigyan ako dahil sa pagkakaibigan, pero I am just hoping to give light to this, call attention to this, because it will help others. Thank you very much. Have a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy weekend also, and Happy New Year.
Okay, that's Froilan Dytianquin, General Manager for Sales and Marketing of the Geely Group, Geely Philippines. And ayun po, no, before we go to the gap, I just want to wrap up that point, okay? The intention of the DTI is to pacify the Philippine Metal Industries Group or the metal industries unit sector. Kasi feeling nila, nako, pag puro na lang imported, mawawala na naman ang local manufacturing, mawawala na naman kami ng negosyo. And they have a right to defend their territory or their concerns. Okay, that's good. Pero imposing a tax on imported vehicles that are not directly competing with the locally made models does not make sense, especially if the tax imposed does not go to a program intended to create more jobs or more products that will benefit all the industries in the Philippines. Kasi alam nyo po, let's all get real, okay? We have tried for the last 40 years to get Ford, Chevy, Toyota, everybody to come to the Philippines and make the Philippines the car manufacturing center of the world, or at least of Asia or of the region. Not gonna happen. Our electricity is so high. Our road system is so bad. Our ports facilities is just, if not bad, totally mismanaged, okay? So tingnan nyo lang yung libo-libong mga cargo container vans na nakatambak din sa mga ports natin, etc. I'm not being anti-Filipino. I am pro-Filipino. But if you want to protect industries, let's protect yung mga consumer products na ginagawa sa Pilipinas. Let's give them incentive. Kasi we have billions pesos worth of consumer products that are being imported from China. Mga food products, etc., clothing, electrical. Titirahin natin yung kotse, it does very little and hurts, an industry or a sector that's quietly trying to survive. Bakbakan natin yung mga bagay na nakakaapekto sa Pilipino, yung presyo ng pagkain, presyo ng gamot, etc. Huwag yung tataks mo. Yung mga kotse, yung may mga pera lang na apektuhan dyan. And at the end of the day, what do? You just simply make mobility more expensive. We will go for a break. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, let's move on to our next equally important topic, if not more important topic. We have Dr. Marigold Ferrolino, Cancer Center Director of the Rizal Medical Center. Doc, good morning.
Morning to everyone and Happy New Year. Good morning to you, Cito.
Okay, Doc, dediretsahan ko na po yung mga tanungan, kasi
Okay,
I mentioned earlier, my sister came down with breast cancer towards the end of December, and it has been such a horrendous, difficult journey for all of us as we monitor her and as she shares her experience. First of all, itong breast cancer, yung mammogram, kasi ever since this incident, I have been watching other videos and testimonials about cancer. And even the wife of the former Prime Minister of Australia shared a video. And parang ang point was yung pag nakita mo na yung bukol sa dibdib mo, medyo huli na. Or hindi huli na dead ka na, no? Pero parang you could have prevented that if you did mammograms for every year. Is that correct?
Ay, yes. Actually, cancer can be detected, but not all cancers can be detected. One of the cancers that can be detected is breast cancer. So it's very important for the public to know what is the way to detect it. So parang public awareness and cancer information is very important. So in breast cancer, it is recommended for one to undergo mammogram, even if there are no risk factors, even if in general population lang siya, to undergo mammogram starting at the age of 40. So regardless if you have a family history or meron kang symptom, you can undergo mammogram at the age of 40 every 2 years. And 50 years old and above, it should be every year. And mammogram is very sensitive actually in detecting cancers na hindi mapapalpate by hand.
Okay,
So
kasi
very important talaga yon.
Okay,
Early
kasi yung
detection.
iba akala pag wala kang nararamdaman, wala kang nakikita, okay ka na. Pero yung pala meron
Oo nga eh.
nakatago sa loob. Now, mahal ba yung mammogram na yan? I mean, you're with Rizal Medical Center. Para lang alam ng tao kasi alam mo ang Pilipino, their biggest concern always bago yung buhay nila, yung pera nila. Mahal ba yung magpa-mammogram?
Actually, mammogram is just an X-ray. So X-ray siya na specifically directed towards the breast. Hindi siya ganun kamahal, not as mahal as yung mga CT scan. So less than 1,000. So kaya nga very important nga for the government to support yung mga early screening and detection. Kasi nga as they say, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure, di ba? So if you're able to detect cancer early, then that increases the survival of the patient kasi you're able to cure the cancer because you're able to detect it at an early age.
Okay,
So siguro actually ngayon, very very promising naman because the government made efforts to actually yun nga support the treatment of cancer even among the indigent patients because of the creation of the NICA, the National Integrated Cancer Control Act. That's
Okay,
under the Universal Health Bill.
Ay na, so thank you Lord. Magandang balita po yan, doktora. Okay,
Yes,
so
talagang good news siya.
yung bang below 1,000 peso na halaga na magpamammogram ang babae once a year, covered din yun ng PhilHealth, di ba? So halos wala na silang
Yes.
binabayaran.
Actually, covered siya ng PhilHealth. Yung ngayon kasi, di ba, ang thrust ng government is to make the universal healthcare parang available for everybody. So, no person left behind. Yun yung
Okay.
ano nila.
Okay,
So,
now,
that includes yun nga, yung mga screening procedures.
okay. Ngayon, going back to the breast cancer thing, and please, kung may ibang form of cancer na gusto mo ring i-mention, pakibanggit lang. No? Pero kasi may mga babae nagsasabi, hello, flat-chested nga ako eh. Bakit pa ako magkakaroon ng breast cancer? Di pag may bumukol dyan, thank you. Nadagdagan pa yung dibdib ko. I mean, alam mo na yung, I don't wanna make fun of it, pero yung iba ganun magsalita eh.
Actually nga, breast cancer can happen even among males. Oo, pero it's a very low incidence. So actually, it doesn't parang depend on whether you have a lot of breast mass or yung cancer na yon. So cancer is actually an interplay between genetics and environment. But there are more cancers that are more genetic than environmental or lifestyle related. And one of them is breast cancer. So
Okay.
very important din yung history mo talaga in the family. Para you can be aware of yun nga, early detection. Kasi syempre may history ka ng cancer sa family. So dapat nag-undergo ka ng screening.
Okay, pag
Early
sinabi mong history, because there are people I know who have a history of ovarian cancer Or ano
Yes.
ba yun, yung sa uterus ba yun or something. Basta ovarian, alam ko, ano?
Uterine cancer, ovarian.
Uterine cancer din.
Mm.
Pero pag yung pamilya mo ba, ovarian cancer ang history or colon cancer, malayong mangyari na magkaka-breast cancer ka, or pag may basta cancer is cancer, if you have it in your family, you better have. Kasi alam ko, glaucoma, pag
Mm.
merong isa kang kamag-anak, katulad ko, may kamag-anak ako, ayun, may tama ako, dalawa kami magkapatid na may glaucoma. What about cancer?
Mm. Actually, yung cancer kasi generally is because of mutation in the cell. So yung mutation na yun, we have increased parang predisposition as we grow older. That's why cancer, ang number one risk factor for cancer is actually age. Yun. So when you say meron kang cancer sa family, merong mga mutation kasi na dominant yung sinasabi. So yung dominant means if you have that particular cancer gene in your family, talagang almost 100% you will develop. An example of that is yung kay Angelina Jolie, yung
Yeah.
BRCA gene,
Oo.
BRCA gene. So if you have that in your family, you are really have a very high risk to develop breast and even ovarian. Kasi Angelina, early on, pinatanggal niya na yung breast niya, tsaka yung ovary niya. Kasi
Yeah.
mataas ang risk niya. Oo.
Yeah, kasi
So
natatandaan
yun.
ko noon, yung si Joey Albert, yung pamilya naman niya, yung singer ba, yung mga napakagandang
Yes,
kaibigan
I
ko
know
na singer.
Joey. Oh.
Si Joey, 'di ba, sa pamilya naman nila colon. So pag yung pamilya mo merong lumabas na isa na nagkaroon, mas safer na magpatingin ka taon-taon. Ngayon,
Yes.
Okay, pinag-uusapan natin mammogram. Paano yung ibang klaseng mga cancer? Meron bang test o may paraan ba para
Yes.
masabing, nako, baka may problema ako, magpapatingin ako?
Oo. Yun nga, sabi ko kanina na there are some cancers that can be detected early. So these are called screenable cancers. And one of them is breast. So sa breast, mammogram yung actually, mammogram is an add-on to self-breast examination. Importante talaga yung kinakapa mo rin yung breast mo. So you can do that actually mga 20 and above. You can do it every month. Mammogram kasi starts only at 40. Yun yung recommendation for the average population. Pero if you have parang family history, you can actually start screening early. Tapos as for the other cancers, one of the cancers that can be screened is colorectal.
Okay.
In colorectal, the recommendation is for you to undergo colonoscopy. If you belong to the general population na walang yung average lang, wala kang risk, it should be 50 and above. You should do it annually, or if nothing is detected, you can do it every 3 to 5 years thereafter. But if you have a family history, you can do it earlier.
Okay,
Like 40 or even below.
Para saan na ba yung PSA test ulit? Kasi alam ko
Yung
noon nagpa-test ako.
PSA, yes.
Oo.
So again, prostate then is one of the screenable cancers. And what the recommendation is for you to undergo PSA test as well as digital rectal exam. Very simple lang yun. Pupunta ka sa doctor and then they will do a rectal exam in order to palpate if there's something wrong with your prostate. So it's a very basic procedure, but that's one of the screening procedures for prostate, including PSA. Yung recommendation naman dito, kapag wala kang history, pwedeng 50 and above din. But if you have a family history of cancer, whether or not it is prostate, it should be earlier. Mga 40 dapat nag-undergo ka na ng PSA, tsaka digital rectal exam. Also with ultrasound if the PSA is abnormal.
Okay, so maraming klase ng examen. Sa blood test ba nakikita, maliban doon sa PSA, yung sa liver, yung mga ganon-ganon, meron bang indicator pag nagpa-blood test ako na, oy, teka, Cito, kasi ako, Doc, no, medyo ako na false positive na ako for yung sabi mo sa PSA,
PSA.
oo, ano na nga ulit yun? Prostate,
Prostate cancer.
na false positive na ako dyan sa prostate. Ngayon, sabi nila, Cito, nagkaroon ka ng Hepa B, nako, bantayan mo yung liver mo at baka kandidato ka, but that was 20 plus years ago.
Actually, that's true. May Hepa B ka ba, Cito?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ako
it's very true.
I'm a champion for Hepa B testing. Okay.
Yes. Actually, HEPA B is right now, HEPA B and C, the number one risk factor for liver cancer. Not so much yung cirrhosis because of alcohol. It's right now HEPA B. So if you have HEPA B, you are considered high risk. That's why
Okay.
you are parang recommended to undergo screening, regular screening by doing yung sabi mo nga blood test. Merong available yung alpha-fetoprotein. Should be
Okay.
done siguro mga every 3 to 6 months. And then ultrasound of the liver every 3 to 6 months din. Para
Kahit
if
na,
ever you will develop, we
oh,
will be able to detect it early and you can
kahit
still
na
be cured.
20 years ago na yon, kasi ako 20 years ago
Yes,
na ako
miski
naka
20 years.
oh,
Kasi you remain HBs antigen positive. So
nako.
actually, even if you're
Oh.
just a carrier, you are parang
Yeah.
at risk to develop liver
Carrier
cancer.
ako na makakahawa. Sabi ko nga dun sa mga kerengking dyan, sex with me
Ah.
will be lethal to you. In any case, di ba?
Yes.
Kasi marami hindi nila iniisip yan eh. Na basta pokpok ng pokpok dyan, hindi nila alam na ang HEPA B ay parang AIDS. In any case, going back to the cancer issue, so pwedeng mahal ba yung test na yun, yung sinasabi mo, at saka every 3 to 6 months?
Yung liver ultrasound, di masyado, di ba? Kasi meron naman mga 600, 800. Yung
Oo.
alpha-fetoprotein, it usually does not, it's not more than 1,000. Siguro mga
Okay,
nasa
okay.
range na 500. Mga ganon.
Ginagawa rin yan dyan sa Rizal Medical Center.
Yes, we also have.
Okay, bilib talaga ako dun sa ospital ninyo. Matagal na panahon nilalait-lait ngayon, napakaganda na at napakagaling
Actually,
nila.
we're very thankful to the support of DOH. Yes.
Okay,
That's
mabuti
why we
naman.
have really improved a lot. So.
Okay,
And
we're down.
we still keep on improving.
Yeah, we're down
our
to
services.
last 3 minutes, Doktora. So I just want to bring focus to the journey of the cancer patient. Kasi nung na-chemotherapy bago ma-chemotherapy itong sister ko, na-shock ako na ang daming pa-test. Nakita na yung bukol, na-confirm na radical yung kanyang model ng cancer. Ang daming test, may heart test, may blood test, bakit ganun, Doktora? Ang daming pa-test bago ka matreat.
Actually, yung pinaka-importanting test talaga is biopsy. Kasi biopsy will confirm whether you have the cancer or not. All the other tests are important to know kung anong stage mo. So malalaman mo doon kung kumalat na ba siya sa ibang organs or not. And all the other tests also will parang check your risk. Like for example, yung mga 2D echo. Importante 'yon kasi in breast cancer, one of the drugs that we use can be cardiotoxic, especially to the patient at risk. So yun yung mga reason actually for staging and also to gauge whether the patient has other comorbid conditions which can actually interfere with the treatment. Pero pinaka-importante talaga, the gold standard is biopsy. You cannot start treating a cancer without a definite tissue diagnosis. Yun. So, yung sinabi mong journey,
bakit mo ini-emphasize yung biopsy, Doktora? Ba't marami bang pumapalag or ayaw magpa-biopsy pag may nakita?
Actually, marami. Kasi biopsy is an invasive procedure, di ba? So, sabi ko nga nung una pa lang, very important talaga yung patient education. So, I think dapat yung DOH will really parang focus on that. Yung cancer awareness. Kasi yung iba, marami sila mga misconception na pag ginalaw yung binayopsy yung bukol, kakalat, and so on. So, hindi ka kasi pwede makastart ng treatment mo without a tissue diagnosis. No yun sa amin na mga oncologists.
Okay, so
kasi we're dealing with toxic drugs.
So in the end, kanya maraming pag ikaw ay nakitahan ng first magpa-mammogram, mag-self-examine, pagkatapos ng self-examine kung may pagdududa
pag may nakita
magpa-mammogram ka. Pag may nakita, sasabihin ng radiologist at saka ng oncologist, ma'am, magpa-biopsy. Para sigurado tayo kasi marami po na merong malignant, merong benign. May bukol ka nga.
Yes, meron. Opo.
Okay,
Yes,
so
merong
tapos,
benign kasi eh.
so yung mga ibang exam kasi sabi nyo napakalupit nung ano, yung gamot laban sa cancer, talagang
Oo,
sobrang tapang.
actually, oo. Kaya
So,
dapat sigurado tayo. Kasi
mhm,
very toxic siya. So
mhm.
just imagine, di ka sigurado na cancer, tapos binibigyan mo ng ganong ka-toxic na gamot. Then
Oh,
also,
okay.
very important for you to know yung diagnosis so that you can explain well to the patient what they
Mhm.
are getting into. Kasi
Okay.
sabi mga journey, di ba? So very
Yeah.
important na yung doctor kasama sa journey na yon. And the
Mhm.
doctor should really be able to, yun nga, lead the patient in that journey in a way
Aba,
na yung
oh,
patient will, kakayanin niya to finish
okay.
that journey in the end.
Medyo na ubusan lang tayo ng oras ngayon pero
Mm.
magpa-part 2, part 3 ako sa iyo, doktora, kasi
Okay lang. Oo.
kasi
Anytime, Sito.
oo. Kasi alam mo,
Oo.
yung sister ko, hindi lang oncologist, merong cardiologist,
Mm.
lahat ng gist napunta sa kanya. Ang dami niyang team. Ang laki ng team niya kasi yan na po talaga ang labanan sa cancer. Anyway, thank you
Kasi
very much.
multidiscipline yan, Sito eh. Yung
Mhm.
cancer kasi hindi lang kami eh. It
Okay.
involves the other disciplines as well. It's a multidisciplinary team management.
Okay.
Kaya marami mga
Yeah.
tinawag na
Okay.
no,
Well,
doctors.
anyway, thank you very much, Dr.
Thank
Marigold
you,
Ferrolino.
Sito.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
we'll
It's
look
my
forward.
pleasure to be here.
Okay,
Yes.
looking forward to talk to you again. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Anytime.
Okay,
Anytime.
ladies and gentlemen, that's Dr. Marigold Ferrolino, Cancer Center Director of the Rizal Medical Center. At hayaan nyo po, magpa-part 2, 3, 4, and 5, and whatever is necessary. Kasi yun po, no, marami sa inyo hindi nare-realize how complicated, how difficult, how painful, and how expensive the journey of a cancer patient is. And I'm not doing this just because my sister has breast cancer. I have a number of friends who've gone through the journey, iba-ibang klaseng cancer. And ayun nga po, sabi nga ni doktora, pati ako at risk. So please try to learn as much as you can, and we will try to find out as much as we can here on Agenda. Have a good day. Have a happy weekend. God bless all of you. Maraming salamat, Team Agenda.